ways of staying healthy. No? I-train nila tayo paano tayo mag-deal with mga sicknesses and even COVID if we encounter it. Ellie, you have the floor.
Yes, I do. Good evening, everybody, and thank you so much for attending this talk on health. Christine just kindly invited myself and Denise to talk about how to increase your immunity, since that is pretty much the narrative right now that is prevalent. So we want to help people get back their health. And let me just, I don't know why I'm not showing as the speaker. Wait lang, ha? Okay, it's still, yeah, it's still Christine. Christine, you're still the one in the showing in the middle screen. That is so weird.
I think you unpin.
Unpin? Did I pin Christine? Wait, ha? Wait, now it's you then, and then now I'm speaking, but I'm not coming up. Strange. Wait, I'm gonna just share na lang and then see if you can see my.
Sige, share screen. Yeah.
Yeah. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Oh yeah, that's better. Christine, you can help na lang with muting and yeah. Okay. Okay, good evening, everybody, and welcome to this talk. And today I'm going to be teaching you about deep sleep and the sounder sleep system and how you can increase immunity by improving your sleep. And so I hope you're ready to doze off and yawn in my presence. This is the only class where you will receive an A+ for dozing off in this class. Now, I'm Abela. I'm the biohacking pioneer of the Philippines. And I'm trained under Dave Asprey. I also have other certifications. The most recent one is as a sounder sleep system teacher. Now, sleep, why are we talking about sleep? Because a lot of people are not sleeping. Hold on, let me just change, sorry, different presentation. So why are we talking about sleep? Sleep is something that people are not doing lately. A lot of people, even before the pandemic, people have not been sleeping. Now that we're on the third chapter of our lockdown, people are not sleeping even more. And what's happening is that our health is being affected. So this is a quote that really sums it all up. The shorter we sleep, the shorter our lives. And this was written by Matt Walker, who was an expert sleep biohacker and also the author of this book, Why We Sleep, which I urge everybody to download and read because it is the Bible of biohackers when it comes to sleep. Now, what is the sounder sleep system? Sounder sleep is a set of science-based proven techniques that train the mind and body to get into a state of rest and relaxation within minutes. And the secret sauce is through small, slow, repeated physical movements. And this was transposed by Michael Krugman, who is a Feldenkrais teacher. He borrowed it from the Feldenkrais method, in which I am trained. And I use this method to help special needs kids and stroke patients, athletes, dancers, high-performing individuals upgrade their quality of life and movement through neuroplasticity. So the sounder sleep system is actually practiced in the daytime for about 10 minutes or less in something that we call day tamers. And you will learn a powerful day tamer today. This is designed to be practiced in the office chair or wherever you are in the daytime. So they're also known as daytime relaxation practices. You can do them in the garden, in the garage, in the parking lot of a grocery store, wherever you are. Then we also have night tamers. And this is designed to lull you to sleep when you're about to put your head on the pillow. And this is much longer than the day tamers, but you can combine both day tamers and night tamers at night, or you can use night tamers during the day or day tamers at night. So whatever suits you best. Now, so why are we doing sounder sleep system during the day? Because sleep starts when you wake up. And sleep problems are a result of what happens in your biology during your active mode in the daytime. So in the daytime, we are plagued by stress at work. We have errands and bills. We have kids and family duties. We are exposed to indoor lighting, non-natural environmental factors like artificial blue light and Wi-Fi. So all of this exposure puts us in a constant state of hyperarousal, which is the opposite of sleep or rest. Light and Wi-Fi. So all of this exposure puts us in a constant state of hyperarousal, which is the opposite. That is so strange.
It's nagfi-feedback siya.
Nagfi-feedback, yeah. There is feedback. Okay. All right. So, yon. So maybe we will mute everybody na. Okay. Yeah. Hyperarousal, which is the opposite of sleep or rest, or hypoarousal. So this daytime constant state of anxiety, of worry, of stress, of burnout, of overtraining, too much exercise, too much activity, this is what is getting in the way of our sleep, simply because the body has forgotten how to put itself back in a state of rest. So the body has lost the language of sleep. That's what's happening. Now, in fact, the real pandemic here is loss of sleep, right? And the human cost is really sky high as it gets in the way of our relationships, our ability to do work, our ability to stay healthy and ward off disease and inflammation. So you might ask, how will the sounder sleep system work? So it works by disrupting the pattern of hyperarousal during the day. When we are highly stressed or plagued by worry or anxiety, we trigger the part of the brain called the amygdala, which is part of the reptilian brain. And this is the part of the brain that processes fear. When we do the sounder sleep system, we send electrical energy into various acupoints in the body. This then reduces the arousal in the primitive reptilian brain, the area of the amygdala. And then we release the energy block, and this gives us emotional resilience and balance. In fact, there have been double-blind clinical studies that have shown methods like EFT, like meditation or the sounder sleep system, have reduced perceived stress by 30% in just one session. And this then has increased immunoglobulins by 37%. So doing this practice increases your immunity. And we all know immunity is the most important topic that we need to discuss today. So the secret to doing sounder sleep system is doing it in strategic times of the day, usually when cortisol levels are high. So before meals, because we need to be in relaxation mode in order for the digestive system to start churning and start absorbing nutrients. If you're the type that eats standing up or while walking or while working, you are really not digesting food. You are doing a half job at absorbing nutrients and converting it to proper energy. And this is why the Zen masters will tell you to eat mindfully and calmly. You would do the sounder sleep system as well, first thing in the morning, when cortisol rushes up in order to get us out of bed and start the day. So when you open your eyes, don't get out yet, do sounder sleep system, and then roll out of bed gracefully. You can also do it anytime that you feel anxiety or fear, worry, or overthinking. You can do it right after a workout. You've done HIIT or cardiac cardio. You can use it to recover more quickly, or you can also use it for those 3 a.m. wake-ups, because it is usually because of cortisol that you wake up in the middle of the night and can't get back to sleep. You do sounder sleep system just to get the body back in relaxation mode. So this is how it works. The sounder sleep system is an effective way to transition from active brain waves or beta to calm, and then to theta or deep rest. And when you do this 2 to 3 times a day, at least 4 times a week, daily if possible, at least 3 minutes, the body learns how to get from beta active waves to alpha theta, and then what happens at night? You hit delta more easily and efficiently because sleep is driven more quickly with the darkness, by the cold, and other sleep-inducing elements like melatonin. So we are training the body to rapidly transition to rest and relaxation from stress, from worry, from anxiety, from overthinking. So this is actually a training in self-regulation, right? So you see how this works? Anytime you feel stress in the daytime, we're training the body to get from stress to calm, stress to calm, stress to calm. This is a training in self-regulation. So that at night when it's time for sleep, we get to alpha state, then to theta, and then to delta more easily, right? So of course, it takes practice. So don't be frustrated if it doesn't get you there the first week or two. With practice, it is a neurological certainty. So I always tell my students, do the work so the work works for you, right? So in a moment, we're gonna get a taste of our first mind and body reset using Sounder Same System. And it's something that I'm hoping you will practice on your own, at least 3 minutes, 3 times a day. But 10 minutes is ideal. So a study has shown that naps of not 2 hours, not 1 hour, not even 30 minutes, but 10 minutes has garnered the most benefits, where the subjects felt sharper, more alert, more of a cognitive and physical reset. And it has to do with the brain wave that you reach, which is in alpha theta. So this is what biohackers call a flow state, where creativity sets in. So you hit alpha, but you dip your toes a little bit in theta. Because when you go too deeply into theta, like for an hour, hour and a half, the wake up is brutal and you feel groggy, too groggy to work. So the true power nap magic number is 10 minutes. At least that's what the science says. So what we're gonna do is called the main squeeze. Okay, and I'm gonna do maybe a little bit more than 10 minutes. I'll tell you the 10-minute mark, but I'm gonna go a little bit further than that. But what I'd like to invite you to do is to get your voice recorders out so that you can record my voice, and you can try it tonight. And then you can also try it tomorrow during office hours, like twice or 3 times tomorrow, and just try it. I know we will have a recording of this uploaded, but it's really handy for you to have it already in your phone. So this is the main squeeze. So we are going to involve the hands in this. And this is the reason this particular technique works. It's because it has its roots in Chinese medicine, because there are meridians that we are not really stimulating, but we are energizing a little bit, right? So it also has its roots in the Japanese practice of Jinshin Jutsu. And in Jinshin Jutsu, they have finger holds, where they hold the thumb for worry, the index finger for fear, the middle finger for anger, the ring finger for sadness, and the pinky finger for efforting. So you would be able to balance out the corresponding emotion by holding the finger for at least 20 minutes. So you would hold the fingers on the right if it's an emotion that has to do with something in the present. So if it's present, hold the right. If it's something to do with an emotion, worry, or fear about something in the past, you would hold the left hand. So that's Jinshin Jutsu. So in this particular main squeeze, we are going to hold the thumb and the index finger. And you can see that we are balancing worry and fear. And when we balance worry and fear, for example, because you're worried or fearful of this 3rd chapter of our national or whatever lockdown again, or the Delta variant, or the upcoming Lambda variant, or the whatever Tau Gamma variant that's coming, we are balancing the emotions over those. And then that will help you sleep better, right? That will help you find rest and relaxation. When you do it enough times during the day, at night, you just hold your fingers, hold the 2, and you're asleep, that type of thing. So of course it takes practice, right? Okay, So in a moment, okay, you guys are probably all seated. By the way, you can also do this lying down tonight. So when you lie down tonight, you can do this secret handshake that we are going to do. All right, so I'm going to show you how to do the secret handshake. But for now, find a comfortable chair. You can also grab a pillow. You can, wait, my microphone. Pardon me while I reconnect the phone. Okay, so you can also grab a pillow to place in your lap. Okay, and you can also have your feet on the floor. You can sit the front edge and have your feet on the floor. You can remove your shoes as well in order to find more contact with the floor. Yeah. Okay, and so I'd like you to turn on your voice recorders if you have one at this point.
Take a portable chair.
Christine, can you mute everybody?
Here's a sound asleep system technique called the main squeeze. You can use this in the daytime while you're sitting in the office chair or as you lay your head in the pillow for deeper sleep. For now, let's assemble the secret handshake. Hold your hands in front of you, the palms facing out. Bring your hands together and hold the left thumb with the right hand, as if you're holding the handlebar of a bicycle. Again, hold the left thumb with your right hand, as if you were holding the handlebar of a bicycle. Continue holding the thumb with the right hand, and then free the right index finger as if you were pointing forwards. Then, the four fingers of the left hand are free. Grasp that free index finger with the four fingers of the left hand, so that essentially you're holding the thumb of the left hand and the right index finger. Please refer to the picture for more clarity. And once you have joined your hands like that, you can lower them to your lap. You can use a pillow on top of your lap to gently nestle the hands upon. Relax your hands. There's no need to grip or squeeze at this moment. Your hands will stay in that position without any effort. If you're doing this while lying down, please make sure that you have support underneath your elbows, so as to relieve any effort in the shoulders, the chest, the neck. Do what you need to make yourself comfortable. What do you feel in your hands when they are joined like that? Simply notice contact, a temperature sensation, a pulsation, a pleasant tingling or radiating, or any other pleasurable sensation. Scan the way you're sitting or lying. Is your jaw relaxed? Your cheeks, your lips, the eyes, your neck, the forehead. Is your belly free? Your back, your hips. What's the sensation of the feet touching the floor? Is the sensation different depending on whether you're breathing in or breathing out? And now, Squeeze the index finger on your exhalation. Begin to breathe naturally. Each time you spontaneously breathe out, gently and gradually squeeze your index finger. Keep squeezing until the exhalation is complete. Then as you spontaneously breathe in, relax your grip on the finger. Repeat this several times and then rest for several breaths. And again, when you squeeze the index finger on the exhalation, it's a tiny, tiny squeeze. It's like the beginning of a squeeze, and then you stop. On the inhale, relax the finger. Exhale, squeeze the index finger a tiny little bit. Inhale, relax the finger. There's no need to breathe in any special way. Simply allow the breath to come in and allow the breath to go out. It should be the easiest thing in the world. Do this a couple more times. And now stop, rest, and feel the results of what you've done. Continue breathing naturally. Take all the time you need to breathe in and all the time you need to breathe out. And now, this is the 3-minute mark. You may open your eyes and continue your day, or you can go on to the 10-minute mark. And now squeeze your thumb on exhalation. Breathe naturally. Each time you spontaneously breathe out, gently and gradually squeeze your thumb. Keep squeezing until the exhalation is complete, and then as you spontaneously breathe in, relax your grip on your thumb. Repeat this several times and then rest for several breaths. Again, when you exhale and you squeeze the thumb, it's a tiny, tiny squeeze, about 1/8 of an inch, and then you stop. And when you inhale, relax the grip. Exhale, squeeze the thumb. Inhale, relax the grip. Exhale, squeeze the thumb. Inhale, relax the grip. Repeat this several times. There's no need to breathe in any special way. Simply letting the breath come in and letting the breath go out. Repeat this several times and then find rest. Exhale, squeeze. Inhale, relax. Exhale, squeeze. Inhale, relax. Again, it's a tiny, tiny squeeze. Maybe 1/8 of an inch, and then you stop. Do this movement a couple more times. And now stop, rest, and feel the results of what you've done. Scan the way you're sitting now, the way you feel in the face, in the chest, the belly, the hips, the feet. Simply observe. The deeper you will find repose. Each time you feel your mind or thoughts wandering, just go back to the movement and then rest after several breath cycles. Continue to breathe naturally. And now, we will combine those two actions, squeezing the index finger and squeezing the thumb in an alternating 2-breath sequence. Breathe naturally. On the first breath, as you breathe out, gradually squeeze your index finger. Then as you inhale, relax your grip. On the next breath, as you breathe out, gradually squeeze your thumb. Then as you inhale, gradually relax your grip on the thumb. Continue like that, alternately squeezing the index finger on one exhalation and the thumb on the next. Repeat this several times and then rest for several breaths or longer. If somehow you can't keep up with the rhythm, do not be concerned. Simply rest. Exhale, squeeze the finger. Inhale, relax. Exhale, squeeze the thumb. Inhale, relax the grip. Breathing naturally. Repeat this a few more times. Exhale, squeeze the index finger. Inhale, relax. Exhale, squeeze the thumb. Inhale, relax. Repeat this a couple more times. And now stop, rest, and feel the effect of what you've done. This is the 10-minute mark. If you feel that you want to go on with your day, you may open your eyes and very carefully go on about your day. But if you'd like to move on to the 15-minute mark, stay as seated or laying down. Continue to breathe naturally. There's no need to breathe in any special way. Take all the time you need to breathe in and all the time you need to breathe out. It should be the easiest thing to do. And now, combining the two actions again, squeezing the index finger and squeezing the thumb in an alternating breath sequence. And this time, as you breathe naturally, on the first breath, as you breathe out, gradually squeeze your index finger. Then as you inhale, relax your grip. Pause and wait for 2 breaths. And on that 4th breath, as you breathe out, gradually squeeze your thumb. And as you inhale, gradually relax your grip on the thumb. Wait 2 breaths, and on that next breath, as you breathe out, squeeze the index finger again. As you inhale, relax your grip. And again, wait 2 breaths. On that next breath, as you breathe out, gradually squeeze your thumb. Repeat this several times, always breathing naturally. If at this point you'd like to lay back on the chair or lay down, simply quietly find the backrest of the chair, or you may stand up and go to your bed or your couch to continue the movement. Again, exhale, tiny squeeze the index finger. Inhale, relax the grip. Wait 2 breaths, and on the next breath, breathing out, gradually squeeze the thumb. As you inhale, relax the grip on the thumb. Wait 2 breaths and repeat the process. Breathing naturally. There's no need to breathe in any special way. Simply allowing the breath to come in and allowing the breath to flow out. Repeat this several times and then find deep rest. Repeat this a couple more times. And now stop, rest, and feel the effect of what you've done. Simply do nothing. You may release the secret handshake and keep your hands by your sides for comfort. We have reached the 15-minute mark. You may continue to rest, or you may open your eyes, stand up after a minute or 2, and resume your day.
Morning, good morning. I'm sorry you couldn't understand my voice in some places, but I hope that still lulled you to rest and relaxation nevertheless. Yeah, Christine?
Yes, Miss Ellie.
Okay. Was it most of, ano?
Kala mo nakatulog na ako.
I'm used to people sleeping.
Yeah.
But only when the audio is good.
Yeah.
Only when the audio is good. Anyway.
So bali yung sa kamay, yung ginagawa sa kamay, that's supposed to relax us.
Yes, and actually even without the technique, even just holding the thumb and the index finger like that already relaxes you. Already releases this is worry, the thumb is worry, and then this is fear. So those two, the index finger is fear.
So you just hold it like that?
Yeah, even if you just hold it like that and just relax, it's already malaki. But if you add the small, slow movements of breathing in, breathing out, and then squeezing a little bit, it gets you to a state of rest very quickly. And then tonight when you sleep. Yeah. Okay, so what I can do is I can record, pre-record my voice doing this, and then we can upload it since the audio wasn't so good pala. Yeah.
So kailangan but it only works with there has to be somebody talking us through it. We can't do it like quietly.
You can actually, yeah, because in the practice of Jinshin Jutsu, it really is just finger holds. But then in sounder sleep, I just connected it with the practice of sounder sleep. In sounder sleep, it takes you, it removes your focus from worry and fear more easily when you're listening to somebody guiding you through it. Yeah.
Got it. Then, kaya soothing yung voice mo rin also. It's to calm us down, no?
Even if you can't hear me, yes. I hope that still helps. But when you synchronize the squeezing with the inhale and exhale, it brings the body so much more complete down to alpha theta really fast. Yeah, like within 10 minutes, you should already be in alpha very deeply. Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you, everybody. I apologize for the tech issues. For now, I'd like to hand you over to my homeopathy mentor, Denise Celdran. Take it away, Dan.
Welcome, Miss Denise. Thank you, Miss Ellie. Thank you for that.
Na-relax
kami. Now
I gotta shake it off. I got so sleepy.
I saw the first 2 minutes you were so sleepy.
That was really nice, actually. Thank you.
Relaxing.
Okay, so I can share my slides, no?
Yes.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Denise Celdran, and I practice homeopathy. And I'll give a short talk because, as Ellie knows, I can talk forever. But I'll try to keep it within 45 minutes so we can open the floor for questions and answers. So I'm gonna keep track here. So I'm gonna share a slide. Share screen. Yeah. Okay. Full screen. So tonight's talk will be about homeopathy and health during these extraordinary times, because homeopathy has been proven time and again during pandemics and epidemics. And later on, maybe I'll show a link on where you can read about it historically. So what is homeopathy? It's almost 240 years old. It was started in the late 1700s by Samuel Hahnemann, and this is using ultra dilute medicines known as remedies made from plants, animals, minerals, and now recently they're making it out of practically anything because everything possesses energy. So now they have remedies made out of X-ray and EMF and gemstones. So this fall under the classification of imponderables as well. So the main principle of homeopathy is like cures like, which is different from allopathy. Allopathy is the medical system we are presently using where it is different cures something. For example, like if you have a bacterial infection, you have to take an antibacterial or an antivirus. The only principle that resembles like cures like is probably vaccination or immunotherapy when they in allergies when they expose you to the allergen, or vaccinations where they get the substance that they want to inoculate you against, let's say a measles or um, um, parvo. I have to look at my dog as an example. So they actually get the substance and then they attenuate it. They do all kinds of things. So that was the old style of vaccine. And vaccination, the concept of vaccine was discovered, I'm not going to say invented, 5 years after homeopathy was popularized, because homeopathy didn't actually happen overnight. It was the result of more than 20 years of Samuel Hahnemann's work. He wrote a lot of papers. He wrote a lot of books before he actually made it into a system. And it took him a long time to get people to understand it and start practicing it. So like yours like comes from the Greeks. Hippocrates also started the concept of like yours like. He was more about using the same substance. For example, let's say you have a hangover and then you take another drink, hair of the dog, then that's an example of like yours like. Or for example, you have a fever and then they dunk you in water that's a few degrees lower than your temperature to bring it down, or they put um, towels on your head. It's not supposed to be cold towels, and they're not supposed to dunk you in ice water. If not, you'll go into shock. So these are examples of like cures like, and this has been used by the Mayans, the Chinese, even the Egyptians way back when. So they found some reference to homeopathy in the hieroglyphics in Egypt as well. So like here's like a quick example would be onion. So if you chop an onion, what happens to you? You start to tear, right? Your eyes start to get watery and then your nose starts to drip and then sometimes you might start to sneeze. So that is a symptom of onion poisoning, if you want to call it onion poisoning. So the homeopathic version of onion, allium cepa, is actually the remedy that they give to people with allergic rhinitis or the common cold, because it exhibits the exact same symptoms: tearing and water running from the nose like a faucet, some sneezing. So same with belladonna, which is deadly nightshade. I think they used it in Shakespeare, as I'm not sure if it was Romeo and Juliet. So belladonna, before you die of belladonna poisoning, you will first start to get a really high, inflamed, really red, high fever. You'll start to convulse, and then you will die from belladonna poisoning. So belladonna is a very good remedy for high fever, for seizure, for febrile seizures, for inflammation. And stramonium datura, or Jimson weed, is a psychedelic. So when you take it, you start to hallucinate, talk to people that aren't there. So this is a remedy that we use for schizophrenia. So you compare the poison symptoms of a substance to the person and the symptoms in the person that you want to cure. So that's what like cures like really means. So the father of homeopathy is Friedrich Hahnemann. I wouldn't say he invented homeopathy. It was discovered or created or put into a body of work, into an actual modality and system by Samuel Hahnemann. And he was also a doctor during the Habsburg Empire. And through the course of his work as a doctor, he was very disgruntled with the way that medicine was being practiced. They were leeching, they were giving poisons, like they would use mercury to treat syphilis. Even as a tincture in very small doses, you would cure the syphilis, but the person would get mercury poisoning. So he found this also crude. He quit and he started to transcribe books, because he spoke 13 languages. In the course of his transcribing, his work as a transcriber or a translator, he came across Hahnemann, he came across the works of Galen, and he put this all together and started to experiment on the concept of homeopathy. Because there was Hippocrates, like yours like, plus the law of dilution, or how to dilute a remedy, which the alchemists were also using at that time. So he put all of this together into a body of work that's now known as homeopathy. So he wrote a Materia Medica, which is a compendium of the remedies that he was using. It was composed of animal byproducts like squid ink and snake venom and plant material, as well as elements and chemical compounds. So basically anything that could cause a poison symptom could be used as a homeopathic remedy, because you would take the poisoning symptoms and see what kind of illness it matched. So Samuel Hahnemann also wrote an organon that is like his Bible, and later on I'll show you some websites that you can actually read this Materia Medica and the organon for free if you wanted to. So his work became very popular. So what he actually discovered was that he would make a tincture and he would dilute it, because, you know, if it's a tincture and it was made out of poison, it would still cause harm to the person. So he would start to dilute the tincture more and more. So maybe put 1 drop in 10 ml, and then he would experiment. And if it still caused an aggravation, he would dilute it further by getting 1 drop from that and putting it in another 10 ml or 100 ml of water. So he kept experimenting with diluting, and then in between each dilution, he would succuss it or shake it. Well, not really shake it. Succussing would be banging it against a Bible or a thick book. That hard. He would do it 100 times in between each dilution, and then he would see the effect on the person. And he noticed that the more he would dilute it and the more he would succuss it, the faster the patient was getting cured compared to the remedies that was only, let's say, diluted 2 or 3 times, and then in between was only succussed 10 times. So he noticed that the more diluted and the more that it was succussed, the more powerful the remedy would be. So it's actually a very new concept. But even back then, it was a very new concept for people. So he experimented on his patients. He experimented on his family. I think he had like 8 kids. He experimented with his colleagues until he wrote the Materia Medica. So these were called proving. So it would be the equivalent of what a double-blind study would be. So he had, at the beginning, I think he only had 38 remedies that came from tinctures that they were actually using at that time, because his father-in-law was a pharmacist. He got the tinctures, he diluted them, and each time he would dilute them, he would experiment by putting people in a house and then giving them 1 dose every day, and then throughout the day, throughout the week that they were there, or the couple of weeks, from being well people, they would start to exhibit symptoms of illness. So this was called a proving. So if an example of a proving would be, I'm well, but if I started to drink, let's say, antibiotics right now, I would start to exhibit symptoms of being antibiotic poisoning, because I don't need it, right? Maybe I would have diarrhea. Maybe I would break out in rashes. It all depends on the type of antibiotic I'm taking. So that's what is called a proving. You're well, you take a remedy, then you start to exhibit symptoms, and then that is what he wrote down as his Materia Medica. So that is how he matched like cures like. So he had a very good body of work, and then he started treating soldiers, and he was getting very good results. He started treating the elite, so the royalty liked to go to him, and he was quite successful in his work, to the point that people were getting disgruntled with what he was doing, because he was putting the pharmacies out of work. He was putting the other doctors that were doing the traditional way of medicine out of work as well. So they banded against him. And also he was very vocal anti-establishment. This was not one to keep quiet. So anytime he would be able to diss the allopathic establishment, he would do so. So he created some enemies himself. You know, he's got some books on his life story that's very fascinating. In fact, it should be a Netflix series. It's that fascinating, including his love life is very fascinating. So they actually banned him and put him in exile. So he went into exile in this guy's place in Cothen, which is now in Germany. Back then, there were no countries yet. It was just the Austro-Hungarian Empire. And so while he was in exile, he was able to write maybe up to his 5th version of the organon. So he kept refining his studies, and he came up with the 6th edition of his work, and he kept updating his materia medica. And what pulled him out of exile was a young French woman. He was already widowed. He was 80 years old, and a young French artist from Paris who was good friends with the Bonaparte family, Napoleon's family. They had an outbreak of cholera when they retreated from Russia. So she heard about him. She went all the way to Cotton, and she convinced him to go into Paris to help cure the pandemic, or the epidemic. It wasn't a pandemic. I think it was just in the area of Paris, to treat the Napoleon's army. So he did, and he was very successful. I think maybe he got about 98% success compared to allopathic doctors. And to make a long story short, they fell in love, and he married somebody that was 35 years old, and he was 80 years old. But she was very instrumental in actually getting his 6th organon out and getting him accepted by the elite, by the establishment, and by getting homeopathy out there and accepted again in the whole of pan-Europe. So it spread to England, where the royal family up to this day is practicing. It spread to Switzerland. It even went all the way to India, because there were a lot of Germans that were expatriates in India. It went to South America. It went to the United States. Unfortunately, in the United States, there was a very big witch hunt. So here, this was the cholera epidemic. So there was a very big witch hunt in the United States, the Flexner Report. I don't know if you're familiar with that. But what they did was they audited, they had a grant from the Rockefeller Carnegie Foundation, which was originally meant for the homeopathic association, because the Homeopathic Association was set up 5 years before the American Medical Association. And the Homeopathic Association was all doctors. It was practiced in almost almost all the top medical schools in the United States, like University of Michigan, University of California. This was in the early 1900s. And then the Carnegie of Rockefeller Foundation gave a grant supposedly for homeopathy, but it was sidelined by the heirs of the old man Rockefeller to fund only those hospitals that were practicing allopathic medicines, because they were using petroleum products, and petroleum was a byproduct of the oil industry that the Rockefeller and the Carnegies were very much into. So in the United States, it died. By the 1920s, all the homeopathic schools closed, but it flourished in India, where there's probably 500,000 homeopaths, and it's a 5-year course, and it's every street corner has a homeopathic pharmacy, and it's integrated into their medical system. Well, it used to be more accepted, but now during this pandemic, it was also demonized in India, very much so by the establishment. But it's popular in Germany, it's popular in England, it's popular mostly in Northern Europe, in Switzerland, and it's part of their medical system. So here's just the link. I just wanted to quickly show you the history if you just wanted to read more about the applications of homeopathy in the epidemics, and it even has footnotes where you can read more. So this is not just, this is all very well cited. So if you wanted to read, I'm not going to read it in detail. I'm just giving you really an abbreviated overview of how homeopathy is really accepted in most parts of the world, but it's greatly demonized. Even if you go to Wikipedia, it's probably got the worst entry about homeopathy. So in the influenza pandemic of 1918 to 1919, see where I think 50 million people died. It's nothing like what we have now. You know, they used a lot of homeopathy, not just for the treatment, but also as a prophylaxis. In South America, in the 50s and 60s, Cuba, Argentina, Brazil, under Dr. Aiziaga, they were inoculating homeopathically thousands and thousands of children. Every time there was a measles epidemic or a mumps epidemic, they would do it through their medical system. In Cuba now, they're practicing a lot of homeopathic prophylaxis also against the current pandemic. So what happened was, of course, the lobbying of the medical corporations changed that whole landscape. So what they did was they popularized instead vaccinations and so on and so forth. So that even died in South America. It's not part of their mass medical system anymore, except for Cuba. So anyway, you can read more about this. And homeopaths before were all medical doctors. It was really part of the medical establishment. The equivalent of PIMS now, which is the handbook of all the drugs, in the late 1800s were all homeopathic remedies. Were mostly homeopathic remedies. Okay, so that's just a side note. We'll go back to so what are the principles of homeopathy? So very similar to Chinese medicine, homeopathy is also about the vital force. So aside from like yours like, which I already explained earlier, it's about the vital force. And what is the vital force? What is this chi or this ki? So this is the electricity that runs through our body. How come we can live without plugging ourselves into the wall, right? Or without having batteries? What is this that makes us tick or makes us live and makes us alive? So we have electricity, and not only us, almost all living things also have an electrical charge, except some are denser, let's say solids on a molecular level would be denser. You can't really see them moving, whereas gases would be looser and water exists in a different state. So all of this is about the ions, the anions and the cations. So there's an electrical magnetic charge in everything that gives us a life force. See, some people say that they can see auras. Auras is part of our electrical charge. Some people believe that a Kirlian camera can take a picture of your aura. So a lot of people debunk the fact that we are energetic beings because they can't see it. And it's definitely not part of what we learn in medical school. I reached all the way up to pre-med, and I quit after the second year of pre-med because it didn't make sense to me the way that they were teaching mostly pharmacology. There was nothing about diet, there was nothing about exercise, so I just figured it wasn't for me. Even if my father is a medical doctor, he's a pediatrician, he doesn't practice homeopathy, he doesn't really understand it, but he takes a lot of homeopathic remedies for everything from his kidney, because he has low-grade CKD, for his back pain. So he's 92 and still practicing. He still goes to Makati Med 3 times a week. So he's actually the one we have to avoid in the family because his exposure is really high. So anyway, that aside, there are electrical currents that run through us, and even though we don't believe we're energy beings, there's the EKG, there's the EMG, there's the EEG. These are all proof, if we need, that we have currents and that we can study this and use it as part of diagnosis. Now, there are some machines out there that some doctors use that are bioresonance machines. They come out of Germany and Russia, where they're very advanced technologically, and they believe that everything emits a vibration. Every organ has a certain vibration that's different. Let's say the kidney has a different resonance from the liver, and a sick kidney has a different resonance from a well kidney, and a sick liver has a different resonance. And it makes sense, right? If you're sick, you're low bat. I mean, you have no spark. So if we could only find a way how to watch it or study it or measure it, right? And so these bioresonance machines can also measure these kinds of energy. So I don't know if there's a question for me. Ah, okay. Oh, hi, Ria. Yes, actually, homeopathy should be a Netflix series. It'll so many seasons because a lot of it is also so fascinating. So there's the law of electromagnetism, and this is a branch of physics that involves studying electromagnetic force, which is the study between electrically charged particles. And I'm not just talking about lights or batteries. I'm also talking about anions and cations. These are also electrically charged. Orgons are also charged. Um, there are so many things that don't require an electrical source that have an electromagnetical charge. You can actually even make a charge by rubbing certain, substances and causing sparks. When you travel sometimes and you get your blanket in the airplane, has sparks also. So there's the law of electromagnetism, and there's also the magnetic poles. So if you get a magnet and you put the south pole and the north pole, then there's something that attracts it to each other that kind of cancel, it merges. Whereas if it's a north and north or a south and south, it repels, right? So where am I going with all of this? You might wonder, right? So if we could actually see what does the vibration of that onion look like, an onion that causes sneezing and watery liquid to come out of the nose and be itchy here between the lips and the nose, what does that vibration imprint look like? And let's say it's a rainbow that's in circles, right? And if a person that's sick exhibiting the same symptoms, that has tears coming down and also clear liquid coming out of the nose, what does the vibration of that sick person look like? If you could see the aura or whatever it is, what do you think the vibration would look like? And maybe it can also be a rainbow, but instead of circles, it's a vacuum or a hole, right? Like those kids when they stick in those shapes and it fits right into the hole. So maybe that's what the vibration looks like. I'm just using metaphors here so that you can understand. So when you join them together, when you put the homeopathic remedy into the person exhibiting the same symptoms, the onion remedy into the same symptoms of the person, then what happens is it fits. So electromagnetically, it merges. I don't know if it causes a vacuum, but something happens where it cancels each other out. And the symptoms of the sick person disappear because you introduced a substance, a vibrational substance into their system that matched it, but yet on the opposite way, right? So please put your questions because I don't know if I'm able to explain this in layman's terms very easily. So that's where I was going with electromagnetism and how north and south attract and north repel each other. So there are other homeopaths there like Tom Jansen. He's a homeopath out of the Netherlands that is really into homeo detox. He actually specializes in vaccine detox for autistic children. He's now called it homeopathy for human chemistry, and it's very fascinating. His book here, Fighting Fire with Fire. Right? And this was even pre-pandemic, so I'm sure he's got a lot of stuff now with the recent developments in our world. So,
Have you ever were you able to apply his teachings regarding the autism, the reversing of autism from the vaccine injury?
yes, actually, I've tried it. I haven't actually been able to reverse completely. I'll never claim to reverse completely. But
Yeah.
what happens is you see a lot of instances where their symptoms are lessened. They can become
Right.
more communicative.
Mm-hmm.
Some stimming is less. So there are certain improvements because it's not just, you have to understand, with autism, it's not just toxins. Genetic plays a very big factor in it as well. what we call miasms. And maybe I'll discuss a little bit also how vaccine injury happens. Why if you vaccinate, let's say 100 children, only maybe 5% will be super
Injured.
negatively affected, whereas the others, maybe another 10 or 10% will be not affected at all. And then there will be this 80% in the middle that will just, let's say their digestion will be affected. So their immunity goes down. And then when their immunity goes down, they take a lot of antibiotics and steroids.
Yes.
And then that causes a suppression. And then that becomes really the beginning of the end.
Right.
That's why every year they're on some kind of antibiotic, Montelukast, so on and so forth. So in homeopathy, we really have to untangle it. It's not as easy as just giving the remedy to detox, because we have to work out the layers from their childhood. What's the first trauma? Vaccine could be the first trauma, but it could also be the pregnancy. It can be the genetic predisposition. How many rounds of antibiotics did they take? Steroids, even emotional. Did their parents divorce? Or did they get into an accident? So it's by layers. And maybe if we have time, I can explain this a little bit more. But anyway, so just to quickly go behind the science of homeopathy, is that when you make a remedy, I was explaining earlier that it goes through dilution and succussion. So from a mother tincture, let's say I have a mother tincture of onion. I sliced up some onions and I put it in alcohol to extract the active ingredient in the onion. So I leave it for 3 weeks, and then from 3 weeks, it's a tincture. And we can take tinctures like back in the day of Hahnemann, doctors were giving tinctures made out of all kinds of herbs. And even now, you can still use what they call mother tinctures for hydrastis, for so many different things. Serpentina, all of these are considered tinctures when it's still in the crude form. And then what Hahnemann did was he took one part of the mother tincture and put it in 99 parts of water, and then he would bang it 100 times in between, and then that becomes 1 CH. And then from 1 CH, he takes one part of this, like one drop, 99 drops of water, bangs it again against the book, and that becomes 2 CH. And then 3 CH, so on down the line. Once you pass 3 CH, it goes into Avogadro's number, where if you analyze the 3 CH remedy, let's say this is 3 CH onion, you will not find a single molecule of onion there anymore. It is so diluted that if they tried to look for onion in a chromatograph, they would not be able to find this. And this is where some people say that the quackery begins, right? They understand the concept of onion. You put an onion under your socks and it sucks out all the fever, right? So that's how onion can work in a crude way. But how does onion, when you can't even find it anymore, still work? And how is it that the more you dilute and the more you succuss, the more powerful it gets? Because now remedies don't only just go up to 200 CH, it goes up to 1M, 50M, and even 10 mm, which is pretty much diluted 10 million times and succussed in between. It's all done by machine, by the way, and succussed in between 100 times. So if you're familiar with CERN, it took a machine this big to break down a hydrogen atom. To just break down the first element in the periodic table, it took that much energy, right? So in effect, as Hahnemann, whether he knew it or not, but because potentization and dilution is not purely Hahnemannian, there were alchemists before him practicing it also, like Rademacher. He just put it all together. In between, the pounding, in fact, acted like CERN. It was breaking down the electrons of the tincture or of the active ingredient of the onion into smaller parts. And what are these smaller parts? That would be particles, right? When we went to school, we learned proton, neutron, electron. And then now we realized after CERN was created that there's even something smaller than an electron, and these are particles. So there's many different kinds of particles, the most popular one being the Higgs boson particle or the God particle. And this where homeopathy now goes into the realm of quantum and nanophysics. And because quantum and nanophysics is only beginning to become mainstream now, that's why people don't understand and are easy to dismiss homeopathy, because right now they don't even have perfect machines that can measure quantum phenomena, right? There's some that are just starting now, India, Russia, Germany, where they're beginning to create machines that can study quantum phenomenon. So when a homeopathic remedy is made, it is actually isolating the wave form or the particle form of the active ingredient. It's breaking it down into a vibration. And when we have vibrations, then we're back to electricity. Like, where's my guitar? If I play my guitar, right, the vibration actually is a substance that can transcend air, like a radio wave. It's part of a wave. So, except it's a wave in a bottle. So I don't know if this is all making sense to you. I hope so. I get excited when I talk about it. So it goes into quantum and nanophysics. So these are Kirlian photographs of homeopathic remedies. If you put it through a chromatograph, you won't find anything. But if you try to extract the vibrational form of it, then you can get something. So remedies are made out of plants, they're made out of elements, they're made out of chemical compounds, anything basically that can cause a reaction or a poison symptom can be made into a homeopathic remedy and can be proven. Snake venom, squid ink, and as I mentioned now, there's all kinds of other remedies made out of, let's say, gemstones. They can make it out of EMF, 5G. You can buy all of this, and I'll show you the pharmacies where you can buy it from in London. They can even make homeopathic remedies out of radionics. I don't know if you've heard of radionics, but it's also a very interesting study. Maybe the most popular radionic practitioner would be Royal Rife, if you're familiar with him. But radionics is another rabbit hole in itself, and it's so fascinating. So a lot of homeopathic remedies are made with radionics as well, where they have rates, where they try to douse for the vibration of different elements and different things. So there are many different types of homeopathy, but I will only really discuss isopathy and tautopathy because it's applicable to what's going on right now. So what isopathy is it's using the same contagious matter in homeopathic form to treat the root of the disease. So that would be similar to, let's say, parvo. They would get a parvo virus or an infected, the blood from an infected dog, and then they would make it into a remedy, and then that would be what they would give back to the dog that's sick of parvo. So this is what is called a nosode. So it is a deceased product that is made into a homeopathic remedy. And back in the day, they made nosodes out of, the main ones were syphilis, tuberculosis, cancer tumors. They would make remedies out of it, and then, because like cures like, give it back to the person that was suffering from the same incidents. So that is what is called a nosode. A sarcode would be a well tissue or a healthy tissue. So sarcodes would be, let's say, thyroid gland. They would get a healthy thyroid gland, make it into a homeopathic remedy. So these are more boosters, right? They would get all kinds exist, from frontal medulla, pituitary. I mean, now it's endless, the kind of homeopathic remedies made out of almost all parts of the body's pancreas, testosterone. These are all what we call sarcodes. And then we have tautopathy, which is a form of isopathy where the remedies are composed of drugs or vaccines that a person has consumed in the past, and they give it as a form of detox. So they make it out of, let's say, right now, our dispensary in Manila has the Moderna Vax, we have Pfizer, we have AstraZeneca. We don't have the Sinovac or the Sinopharm because we don't have access to the actual vial itself, so we can't make a remedy out of that. The three we got from London, from Helios Pharmacy, and thanks to Ria, so they were able to access, because in London, the homeopathic pharmacy is a real pharmacy. You know, even medical doctors can prescribe to their patients from this pharmacy. It's not as underground as it is here. And even in the United States, they're not so big. They sell homeopathic remedies up to 30C. They don't even really sell 200C. They definitely make it difficult for you to get no-sodes, sarcodes, and pathopathic remedies, much more difficult. You have to be a practicing homeopath or hold a prescription from your homeopath. So this is an overview, a very quick overview of homeopathy. And I just wanted to go over some websites with you where you can learn more. So this is the Helios pharmacy that I was talking about. And just to give you an idea of what they now make into homeopathic remedies, is that they have, let's say no-sodes. So under no-sodes, see, they have anthrax, they have botulism, they have chlamydia, dengue. So these are all from the deceased substance that's made into homeopathic remedy. All of that. Hepatitis, no-sodes, herpes, influenza, medorinum, that's from gonorrhea.
Dan,
Yeah.
can you stop share then reshare, because the PowerPoint's kind of hanging.
Oh, okay. Stop. Resume share.
Oh, stop share then maybe reshare. Share again.
Resume share. There, so you can see influenza, lysine, that's rabid dog. I love looking at this stuff.
So when you say remedy, it's a cure.
It is one of the, because in homeopathy, we really need to go by layers. It can be as simple, especially right after, let's say, we want to do prophylactic, like I'm pro-choice. It's really up to the person whether they want to get vaxxed or not, because we're here to support whatever choice they make. It's so much better to use the prophylaxis right after it happens to just prevent any complications in the future. It becomes complicated when there's already vaccine injury. They belong to that 10% that's been compromised because of genetics, because of environment, because of whatever reason. There's always a small, there's always a percentage of the population that has serious vaccine injuries, and that becomes only one of the many remedies that we will give. We will definitely treat first for the actual symptoms that they're experiencing. We will do a detox course. We can do even a miasmatic or treat the genetic predisposition of the family. So a consultation actually takes an hour, and that's not even enough, but I think as the first time, an hour is enough, and then from subsequent consultations will also reveal so much more. You know, that's when you can really delve into the history and all that.
So kanina you mentioned there's already a prepared remedy for Moderna, Pfizer, and what's the other one?
Yes, we got it. Ria got it from Helios.
So
they don't have Sinovac in London. That's why there's no Sinovac.
Right. So right now, if somebody were to be injured from the vaccine, they can come to you for a remedy?
Yes, definitely.
Meron. Here, locally.
Yes. We have locally, thanks to Ria. We have the three, Pfizer, Moderna, and Astra.
Can you tell us more about it? May experience ka na ba? Meron ka na ba na-treat?
Well, actually, I haven't really been using Astra. I've been using the classical remedies for Vax detox. So classically, we've been using Hypericum, which is St. John's wort. It's for any puncture wound that inserts a poison into the body. So hypericum doesn't differentiate whether it's a vaccine with poison inserted, a dog bite, which is rabies, an insect bite with dengue, a mosquito bite with dengue, because these are all puncture wounds with poison attached. So I've only had experience using hypericum and lidum post-vax with symptoms.
Can you tell us about that?
Let's say they
What
have
happened?
a fever. I've had one with feeling maybe chronic fatigue after.
Mhm.
Never been well
Mhm.
since. We call it NBS. Never been well since.
Mhm.
Since the vax, nothing super major.
Right.
Chronic fatigue, well, I guess you can consider that super major if it goes on for a long period of time.
Yes.
So that resolved itself. High blood pressure that never went down was resolved with hypericum or lidum. So
How many doses? Just one?
No. Maybe we do
Okay.
3 doses a day for 5 days.
Okay. So may regimen din siya.
Yes,
May
there's a
protocol
regimen.
din.
We have a
Oo.
protocol. We have a
Okay.
protocol. But a lot of my
Interesting.
students, since they know already about hypericum and lidum, what they do is before the vax and after the vax, they're already taking the either or lidum or hypericum. But now that we have the nosodes, we are now replacing specific to what they're going to
Right.
get, what
Right.
vaccine they're going to
So they can purchase this from you? People
Yes,
can
from the
buy it?
dispensary in Manila, yes.
Oh, we have to advertise this.
I don't know. Maybe I'll get into trouble.
Really? So
I don't know.
paano?
You know,
How can
in fact,
how
I'm
can
so
we refer?
quiet there because this is even worse than talking about religion, when you talk about vaccine.
Yeah.
Before it's like politics and religion, now it's like vaccine is like the
Oo.
hot topic, right?
So referral na lang.
Yeah, very
Hindi pwede.
quietly, definitely. We
I see.
try to do our work very quietly. I have a class coming up. Ellie told me I could plug it here. So
Sure.
on August 24, 25, and 26, I have a class, a basic class. So in the basic class, I'll delve more into the history and the principles that I was talking about earlier. But then also, you will learn how to apply 25 remedies for all the common accidents and injuries around the house. And that includes dog bites, dengue, vax, because that's considered an acute. When you first get it, it's an acute lesion, what we call a lesion, right? So how to treat it prophylactically before any complications happen. And
We can do it
also,
ourselves?
yeah, you can. Yeah, you get the kit, and it also
may
contains all the remedies. I've treated maybe more than 120 cases of coronavirus. My dad and I compete because he treats with steroids and I treat with homeopathy. But then a lot of times we share. Like he gives a prescription and then I also give the prescription, especially to friends that know us as both, right? So it works hand in hand. I've gotten some people out of intubation and ICU. It's easier for me to tell the caregiver that it's holy water, rub it on the head, than to tell them it's actually a homeopathic remedy. This is from Lourdes. Just rub it in the hands, rub it in the head.
So sa pagkakaintindi ko sa explanation mo, no, even though you're giving the person technically a poison, since you diluted it so much, hindi na siya poison. Tama ba?
It's definitely, if they tested it, they won't find anything, which is why people debunk it as quackery. It's practically just water.
It's already water, so sobrang diluted.
Although a caveat is, if you give a homeopathic remedy for a lot of doses to a person that doesn't need it, you can cause approving. Remember, I mentioned earlier, approving is what Hahnemann did to prove how he wrote his material.
He gave it to healthy people.
He gave it to healthy people, had them write down the symptoms, and then whatever the top symptoms that everyone was feeling across the board became the keynote. So you could give that remedy if people are exhibiting that keynote symptom. So if you don't need it, you can actually cause a proving. But a proving is not really harmful. In fact, low-grade proving can be good, and that's how we use homeopathic remedies prophylactically, because it acts like a vaccine. Every time
It stimulates the immune system.
it stimulates the
Mm.
immune system to fight or to act up. It's like the little
Okay.
army. So in the basic course, you will get most of the remedies, maybe with the exception of camphor, that I've been using to treat people that have contracted the virus. So
Yeah.
even with that kit alone, you can just nip it in the bud. Aconite lang. The first sign of anything, give aconite, and it may not even develop. It may not become full blown.
What if we don't want to mix it? We just want to buy it from you directly, ready
No,
to use.
you can too. You
Okay,
can as
then-
well. We have prepared remedies.
Uh-oh.
Although, I mean, let's compare a prepared remedy, let's say, that's ready to use would be 350, but the kit, you'll get a kit with what we call the master. And this one you can keep replicating. You can give it to your entire barangay and you'll never run out, because anytime it goes to half, it's a vibration. So you just add more of the medium, which in this case is vodka, because it lasts forever. It doesn't rot like water. And it becomes endless, which is why it's really threatening to the establishment, because it's so
Cheap.
low cost. It's like what, $150 if it was just a single master remedy. And from this, you can start your own business and make it endlessly, right?
So in your sa encounter mo sa coronavirus, were there any patients who didn't get well with the remedy?
From my experience, I haven't had one.
Really?
I haven't had one.
So sobrang
In fact,
effective
for me,
talaga.
the minute they enter the hospital, it's like,
Yes, kami rin. Kasi kami pro-ivermectin, right? So every
I've
time
had-
sa hospital na, wala na. Wala
Yeah.
na kami magawa. Diba? Kasi hawak na ng doktor yun.
Especially if they're in the hospital, if I still have access to the family and or the caregiver, there's hope. But I've had one
Yes.
case where I wasn't able to reach them on time, and I think in the end, he was intubated and in the hospital for like 3 months. So I can't even imagine what the bill was like, right?
Kaya nga.
In the end,
Kaya
he
nga.
passed away. And I
Yes.
just missed it by...
Yes, kasi
Everyone's
isolated
got
sila
their
eh. Walang
own-
bantay.
Their own karma
Oo.
and their own fate.
Yeah.
So,
Interesting.
okay, wait. I'm trying to read the question.
So you will have many clients after tonight.
Take the
We need
course.
your-
Take the
we
course.
need
I'm
your
telling you,
number.
it's a lot of fun, and you won't spend so much na in Mercury Jug, because there's something there for head trauma, there's for burns, there's for dog
Do you
bites.
have something for parasites?
For parasites, yes, we usually use Sina, but that's not in the emergency course, because parasites can already be more of a chronic issue.
Yes.
For the
Kasi
emergency
actually,
course,
I've been researching about schizophrenia, no? Na I think it's connected to a parasite, except if it's in the brain, ivermectin can't cross the blood-brain barrier. So I'm trying to cure somebody who has schizophrenia with ivermectin. Kailangan ko siya tinatansya ko
you might
yung
want
time
to
na
try a bowel nosode.
diba during the full moon parasites?
So a bowel nosode is
That.
a bowel nosode is homeopathic remedies made out of poop.
Nako, naghang.
Maybe I can
Oh
stop
my.
here na, no? Can you see me?
Yeah, I can see you pa.
Okay.
So a bowel nosode is a homeopathic remedy made out of poop. And this was started by Edward Bach, if you're familiar with
Yikes.
Bach flower remedies. So Bach flower remedies are made out of flowers and they smell really good. But people don't know that before the flower remedies, Edward Bach was a doctor that was he was a microbiologist that was analyzing poo in a London hospital, and he figured out that people with certain conditions have an overpopulation of certain bacteria in their gut.
Yes.
So if you have
have
Alzheimer's, he recommended this bowel nosode, because in the poop of an Alzheimer person, there was so much of this bacteria. In the poop of this person with psoriasis, there was so much of this Morgan-Bach bacteria. So it's just one of the many different applications homeopathy can do.
Have you, do you have patients that are being treated for mental illness? That you
I
were
do, but I don't
successful?
have Alzheimer's. I have a lot of depression, anxiety.
How about schizo?
Schizophrenia, I do. Yeah.
How are they? Gumagaling?
See, I can't use the word cure, but
So
definitely
bumabalik.
better, stable, off meds. Getting them off the meds. See, this is another thing. Once they're on the meds, it's next to impossible to get them off it. So it takes a lot of courage and care and support of the whole system. So while they're detoxing from the meds, to support it with homeopathy, with diet, with so many different things. The few schizophrenic patients that I do have
Yes.
came to me
Actually,
already.
maraming factors. Yeah,
Came to me
diet.
already. They were off meds, so we're just balancing. Every time they have a manic attack, they already know what remedies to take, so they're able to manage their incidences. So
The
it's
episodes.
yeah, the episode. So I can't really
Yeah.
say cure. Definitely functional. You
Okay,
know,
so
it's
the episodes
better
still
than
come.
it's better than so many that are on all of these medicines and they're like zombies. When they're in medicine,
Right.
you know, when they're in the medication,
Yes.
it's in my family, so I know it's next
Yeah.
to impossible.
Yeah.
Then Rosanna has a question in the chat.
Okay, I'm just looking at all the chats. Okay, according to interested in protocol. Which one? The one of Rosanna?
Yeah.
Last year, some German homeopath said one was vaccinated with genetic agents, so it won't work anymore. It's too early to tell. We don't really see vaccine injuries till 6 months, years after, right? So the best way to do it is to preventive right after, and just full on. I can't answer that question because it's just this is developing what we call another miasm. So a miasm is really, let's say in the 1600s, there was something called a syphilitic miasm because so many people got syphilis, their DNA was damaged, and yet they had children. So their offsprings had tendencies for schizophrenia and infections and rhinitis and what we call the syphilitic picture or the wasting away. When we say syphilis, that means it's infectious and wasting away. So certain diseases fall under that. So modern times, so many people, number one, have gotten the virus and are going to have children in the future. So we don't know what the effect that is on their genes, what they're going to pass on. And so many people are being vaccinated and it alters their genes and they're going to procreate. So it's too early to tell what the effect is anymore,
Right.
what will be. So,
Right.
but you know, to keep ahead of it, there's homeopathic remedies, there's radionics. The radionic community is really looking into that as well. And what radionics really is narrowing down, it's really breaking down everything into vibration. And if you can find the vibration of that certain genetic aberration, then you could probably find the radionic rate to counter it. And it works the same way as homeopathy, right? I mean, for me, we're still going to evolve. You know, it's really survival of the fittest, and it's only us that's not following the Darwinian survival of the fittest. We're all trying to, that's why our planet has 7 billion people. We've been fighting what's natural for so many years. So we all want to live, but we're all not meant to live. You know, I'm not going to argue that it's bad or good, but, you know, there's a price to pay if we're going against survival of the fittest, right? Hello?
Yes.
Did I hang? Did you catch that?
Yeah,
Yes.
we did. Yeah, that was clear.
So
Okay,
so does ano para ba?
Homeopathy.
Homeopathy. Does it have meron ba kayong ano for like boosting of immune system kasi nga we are in the middle of a pandemic, so we're fighting this virus that's now more contagious, so meron bang mga remedies to boost immune system or talagang remedy lang siya after the fact?
No, we use some remedies prophylactically. The low potency ones, we give it. There's a protocol that's actually come out of India, the Ayush. It's their Ministry of Ayurveda, Yoga, Homeopathy. There's a certain protocol for that. The only homeopathy really is to be administered when you're sick, but there's such a thing as
Okay.
homeopathic cell salts. So what cell salts does is it's homeopathic remedies that's very specific to the cations and anions in our body and the inorganic substances that our body needs for proper cellular function. So we're talking about mitochondrial function, connective tissue function, blood function. There are 12 cell salts that we use. And this can be taken like vitamins. So that's the only thing that we really use as a vitamin and
Okay.
immune booster.
Got it. May iba pa bang tanong sa chat?
Yeah,
How do you
meron pa.
manage psoriasis? Well, with psoriasis, it's really, you have to go into the case, you have to figure out the
Cause.
positive factor, and a lot of times some people it can be grief, some people it can be exposure, some people it can be genetic, and some people it can be hormonal. So we really have to figure that out and work on it by layers. But I treat a lot of people withdrawing from steroids. That's even worse than psoriasis itself, actually. It's when they
So
actually
you do consultations live or via Zoom?
Zoom.
Zoom, okay. Yun.
But take the basic course, because then maybe for half the issues you don't even have to consult with me. It's really for the chronic conditions.
Ah, really?
Yeah. I mean, for cough, cold, even in our chat of the graduates of our course, everyone there is an expert, treating coughs, colds, diarrhea, emergencies, acutes.
Rosanna's asking remedies for depression and anxiety.
Remedies for now I'm discovering that remedies for anxiety and depression are better in very high potencies, and this was what I was not teaching before. I was always focused on the lower potencies, and 200 pH could be considered a low potency. Even 1M is a low potency. But to treat anxiety and depression, I go up to 50 mm, 10 mm, which is 10 million. And this I got from Jill Turland. Rosanna, download Jill Turland's book. Getting Back on Track. She talks a lot about releasing shock, depression, anxiety, and she uses 10 remedies that are found in the emergency kit, but at extra high potency. I have a series of bottles. How often do I use? The doctor passed away. Must have been Dr. Picho. Take the class, because I don't know what remedies you have, but if you take the class, you can certainly apply those remedies. Prophylactic. Usually we use Ars alberthuda, and if you message Jack, and I think the number is here, Jack can explain to you how to use it prophylactically. But always better to take the course. How do I diagnose sick people? First, it's an interview, a very specific interview. But yes, blood tests definitely help. CT scans, ultrasounds, yeah, it helps. I mean, it helps. Especially if, like, say, it's cancer, and then we're tracking if there's if the tumor is getting bigger or smaller, then definitely all of these help in tracking. Class schedule. Here, can you send a Viber message to 0966-612-0455 for the class schedule? What can these remedies do to the effects of Sputnik? We don't have the counter for Sputnik, but you can definitely use Hypericum or Lidum for the side effects.
So they can buy that from you?
Yes. Have you used Philippine herbal medicines homeopathically? No, only because I haven't really experimented on making homeopathic versions of Philippine herbal medicines, but I would like to, and that's probably a direction I really need to go on, is to start proving the effects of our local and making homeopathic version. Ignatia. what's interesting to note, Ignatia is the #1 remedy we use for depression. It is made out of the Saint Ignatius plant that's only found here in the Philippines, that was brought to Europe in the 1600s by the Ignatian or the Athenian priests. When it got to Europe, it was made into a tincture, which became a homeopathic remedy that's now brought back to us.
Interesting, no?
Does the word homeostasis relate to homeopathy? Yes. Homeopathy tries to bring the body back to its original state of homeostasis. Parkinson's, yes, but as I said, there's no, and Ellie will back me up on this, there's no silver bullet. It's really biohacking plus homeopathic remedies plus diet. It's really managing a case with many different factors. But really, it's also analyzing the case properly. Are you pro-vaccination? I'm pro-choice. I'm pro-choice. We're here to support whatever. I don't want to get into the vaccine debate because I believe everyone's got free will and everyone has their own karma, just as we have a collective karma as a planet that we're all undergoing right now. So it's really pro-choice. We are here to support whatever choice you make, whether you get it because you're unvaccinated or you get something because you're vaccinated. Doesn't matter. We're here to support.
She's asking what's the safest out then?
If I had to, the only way that I would probably get vaccinated or have to vaccinate is if I needed to travel. I would do Sinovac because it's probably made the old way, and not to say that the old way is safe. You know, in the old way, there's still that 10% that's gonna have really bad reaction, the 10% that's not, and the percentage in between that's just probably going to be affected through their gut, their immune system, autoimmune. You know, it's like Russian roulette. But if I had to, I would probably do Sinovac. My dad did Sinovac. He didn't want to get vaccinated, but my siblings pressured him, and I'm not about to argue with them. So he got Sinovac. We supported him homeopathy. And he's 92. Supported him with homeopathy before and after, and he's fine.
Siguro kasi Sinovac is old style. Parang mas gabay mo na kung paano mo siya i-reverse. Something like that, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't have all the gene mutations and honestly, I'm not really following all this vaccine. I'm just really focusing. I have so many patients. It's like,
right.
I don't have time to go.
Yeah, you don't have to, right. Tama. Focus on helping.
Then I wanted to ask you about the narrative that's popular right now, which is the kids getting sick, PGH, and kids dying, toddlers, 8-month-old. What can we do? How can homeopathy help that situation, you think?
What's the cause?
I think their parents are vaccinated.
I don't know much about shedding. It's just something I've just recently, and it's only because it's in the chat and people are, I would just number one, treat it symptomatically, whatever they have. Definitely, that's one way. Another thing is to treat it, to get rid of the layer. So if you have the actual vaccine that the parents took, give that or give hypericum. I don't know if I've had a case of shedding. Maybe the closest case I have now would be someone hormonally challenged after the whole family got vaccinated, but I haven't even actually narrowed it down yet to that being the cause.
Right.
Yeah.
But whatever it is, her hormones are unbalanced. So I'm just going to focus on the remedies that will balance the estrogen and the progesterone.
Yeah. And you would give it to an 8-month-old, because I think there was some viral post where this 8-month-old child died. And of course they're saying it's COVID, but we think that, but you would give it water dose or not?
No, anytime that there is distress, even if it's an infant, I would still give the highest remedy possible.
Yeah.
The highest potency possible. And now I've really gone into using 1Ms only because I never really needed to use 1M, but it seems like it's the only thing that can cut through all the junk.
Okay.
And get straight to where it's needed. Like, for example, a dog with parvo. Like, my dog got parvo because he's not vaccinated. Because I lost one dog to vaccine injury. So clearly my dog eats poop and got.
You treat animals too.
You can apply it to plants, animals.
Yep.
So I
Okay.
used 1M phosphorus, and it was like miraculous. It's
For the dog?
He rose from the dead, literally.
Really? My
dead.
friend's dog is sick. I-refer ko sa'yo.
Yeah, so I use 1M if they're really distressed. I am not afraid of using high potencies anymore because it matches the degree of assault to the body.
Yeah. I mean, I have a really I just this morning we gave Antart, a pneumonia remedy, to somebody who had COVID for 7 days and was not getting well. So we treated symptomatically. It was too late to give ivermectin, I think. So we asked what the symptom was. It was pneumonia, drowning in mucus, and wet cough. And Antart is a pneumonia remedy. My gosh, just 1 day. And
Gumaling na.
yeah, not naman gumaling, pero gumaan na yung katawan. And then
Wow.
parang alam niya yung trajectory niya is healing. So
If you find a similimum, which means you're like the key, the kid that puts the round peg into the round hole, it's almost instant.
Yeah, galing. So galing. Talaga.
Interesting.
What's the difference between homeopathy versus naturopathy? Naturopathy is more like the umbrella. Under naturopathy, there's acupuncture, there's homeopathy. There's so many different studies under naturopathy. Joining the class is 2,500 for the class, and then 2, I think. And then the remedies for the whole kit that will last you forever is 3,000. That's optional if you want to get it. You can take homeopathy together with IVM. You can take homeopathy together with all that stuff they're giving in the hospital, because what it's doing is it's boosting the immune system. It's not like allopathic drugs that's antiviral, antibacterial, anti-whatever, right? That's working on a chemical, physical Newtonian level. We are boosting the vibration of the person. So definitely it can work hand in hand. Here, same question. Shedding can affect the women's cycle.
Yeah, may mga bleeding daw. Yung iba.
I've read about it. I'm not in the. There's homeopathic groups on Facebook that's just particularly for shedding and for the vax.
Really?
Yeah, the one that Ria's in. Actually, I was in it, but there was just too much discussion going on. So like, okay, simplify my life.
Yeah, nakaka-stress pa minsan mga groups. That's true.
Oh, a lot of shut down na. Oh, okay, I'm not surprised. Yes, you can use homeopathy to protect your cells from shedding. Ria, you should give a class just on this. She knows more about the vaccine and shedding than I do, definitely.
Unmute, Ree. Look, she's gonna kill me.
Yeah, Ree, come on. She knows way more about this stuff than she's more up to date.
She's so researched on that. Yeah.
Rosie, I would ask Ria.
Hi, Sam.
Ria, give a talk. I'd attend it.
Just answer this question, Ree. Come on. Yeah, but just tell us which remedy. Wait, let me unmute you. Wait, sorry. Wait, Ree. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not an expert like Denise. I just read a lot, that's all.
Oh, that's why. What have you been reading? Because I haven't actually been reading about shedding. Huh?
Yeah, there's a lot of debate in the homeopathic community with the shedding, because a lot of people are saying because you're altering your genes, it's not something that homeopathy has studied or looked into. Like the common diseases that we have. One of the things that they're looking into now is the homeoprophylaxis, which Denise, I told you about. It's a new nosone called Nova CV, and it's being used prophylactically in the US to prevent vaccine injury, prevent prophylaxis from COVID, and also from the shedding. We don't have it yet. I ordered it, but I don't have it yet. But I'll be sure to share it with Denise once it arrives.
What's it called now again? Nova CV?
Novo CV, yeah.
Okay.
And then also there's graphene.
Yeah, oxide.
There's
Yeah.
a remedy graphene.
There's a remedy, graphene. A lot of people are also saying graphites might work for
like
graphene
graphene.
oxide poisoning. And then also there is something that is called the swab test remedy.
Oh,
So for people who are saying there's graphene oxide or there's some nanoparticles in the swab tests, in the the Q-tip things they stick up your ear and or your nose and your throat, they've made a remedy out of that. It's called it's actually called the swab test remedy.
good to know. I've never had a swab test because of that. Nano
Me
dust,
neither, actually.
margulons,
I've
and
only had one swab
nanoparticles.
test.
Yeah, never. Okay, good to know. Thanks.
Are you
So we
getting
will
graphene?
post the
I've also
details
ordered
of the class,
graphene.
no?
Huh?
I
What?
ordered graphene and soma. I haven't really read about soma, but there's another remedy called soma also that's being used. I just ordered it.
For
Oh,
the
sorry. Denise, you have I don't know how to pronounce it. Shunagite,
Shungite.
which is it's also used against shedding. It's related to pine needle tea tree.
Shungite? The
Shungite, yeah.
the
Shungite
billion-year-old
yeah.
stone, yeah. For EMF.
for EMF. It's also
Yeah.
they're
5G
saying
EMF.
it's also
I
working
have
for
shungite and I have
shedding.
higher potency shungite as well.
Oh, nice. Okay. I have shungite in unlimited for EMF.
Yeah, so I guess the bottom line is we just have to keep our vibration high, however way we can. And you know, when you're in a certain vibration, things can't reach you, even if you're exposed.
Yes. Any other questions? Just gonna plug the course again.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, we'll post it on the group.
Ayun, San saying dosing of cell salts as vitamins.
If you're just taking it because you're not treating anything, then twice a day is good enough. And usually just take it a certain combination for 3 months and then change to another combination for another 3 months and then change another combination. In fact, cell salts are used astrologically. So that you can Google some charts that say during the time of Libra, you take this cell salt. During the time of Sagittarius, it's this cell salt. So there's many ways to take it.
Cool. Didn't know that. And cell salts, like you can use it for mineralizing your tooth, right? Like if you have tooth decay, or you can remineralize that. Also, a lot of skin issues, diba?
Yes.
Yeah.
Connective tissue. The
Yeah.
thing with cell
Bones.
salts is it takes a long time. So it's more of a subacute support. If you knew the proper remedy for an acute, then just use the remedy. But if you want support, or if it's something that you want to prevent, like say osteoporosis, then you can do the cell salt version.
Yeah. So when you guys become students of Denise, you can join our Viber group where we exchange ideas about remedies and ask questions. So it's a really active community.
I'll
Like,
say,
you
to say
yeah.
the least.
Super active, yeah. We all help each other, so we don't have to look at the materia medica. We just ask each other na lang.
Yeah, Michi Tan's another good resource for everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Okay, Christine, anything else?
Okay naman. So people who want to learn more about this, they can join the class.
Homeopathy Philippines is the name of the group.
Post natin. Yeah, yung Facebook group. It's Facebook, right? Pa-post
Yeah,
na din,
Facebook,
Ellie.
and there's a Viber group.
Oo,
So the
parang
Viber group usually for students.
really? Sige. Sa Facebook na lang.
Yeah.
Yun. Thank you so much, Miss Ellie and Miss Denise. We
You're
appreciate so
welcome.
much the info that you shared tonight.
Thank you so much, Christine, for having us. Thank you,
Mm-mm.
everybody. Sorry for the
Thanks,
tech
everyone.
issues.
You're welcome. Glad to share.
Kung may website kayo or channel, let's post also so they can join you sa
Homeopathy, homeopathyphilippines.ph.
That's your website. They can contact you there.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Miss Ellie, paki na lang ha. Forward.
Yeah, I will. Yeah, don't worry.
Ayan.
I have all the info.
So,
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
inviting me, Ellie. I'm gonna do your thing tonight.
Oh, do you still remember? Yeah, like a motor and then the thing. Yeah, there you go. You're welcome. Thanks, Sam. Thanks for
all
coming.
right. Thanks everyone. So that concludes our session tonight. So hopefully we'll have another session next time regarding our health updates. I-announce na lang sa Viber. Thanks everyone.
Thank you. Thanks for inviting. Bye.
Bye, Dan. Thanks so
Bye.
much.
Bye. Bye.
Bye, Christine.
Bye-bye.